All right, currently standing on top of one of the mounds here at Jungle Prada Park, and this was the main mound in the middle of the village of the Tocobaga natives that were present when Panfilo de Narvaez arrived in the 1520s. As you can see, I'm at an elevated point here looking down, and it's just a bunch of shell that was accumulated over centuries of eating and just throwing away the trash, becoming a midden mound, and the folks eventually lived on top of. And this was the site that the Spanish met the natives on this side. But what's interesting about this particular encounter is that this was the first Spanish actual expedition where other Spanish landings, they weren't out to explore, they just found Florida by accident or wanted to basically document its existence. Whereas this expedition, they were set out to actually explore the land of Florida, and it all started right here. They would have landed, the water's just on the other side over there, so the Spanish ships would have come in, the natives would come out from this spot here, run down there, and do what they gotta do. From what I understand, it was not a very warm welcome. And I'm finding trash all over this place. However, Narvaez and his men did trudge on to this site and moved on through the state of Florida. Now, it's hard to imagine all that right now because I am surrounded by complete urban development. I've got Park Street on the other side. You can hear houses going on or cars going on. You have multi-million-dollar houses just above this, just beyond this tree line here, and then you have this high-end restaurant right there. But luckily, the city of St. Petersburg is preserving this spot. $750,000 was put into the budget to create some type of top layer to avoid erosion, and also to just better take care of 4 different parks in St. Pete that have Indian mounds. Now you'll see all the shell here. So all these shells were actually held by the natives that were here, and they were brought to this spot, and this is how they lived. It's a big old trash mound, but it's also, I'm pretty sure there's some burials around the area. They call this Jungle Prada for a reason, surrounded by trees, even going down Park Street. The ritziest of the ritzy and the richest of the rich all live here. And here you'll see another mound going up. I'm starting to get on the ground level here. So right now, between 2 mounds, very old trees sticking out, and a second mound going up, and it's divided by this chain link fence here. I think I saw some folks digging in here, and that's just not cool at all. I like to arrowhead hunt, I like to dig, but one of the rules you follow is you do not dig into a mound at all. So look at this. How insanely close we are to the real world. Earliest American history. A very important spot, and it's cheapened by development. And honestly, kind of sickens me. Really does. That's just me personally speaking, so don't mean to get on my soapbox here. Alright, so 1528. From the site of this ancient Indian village was launched the first exploration by a white man. Why's it got to be a white thing? Just kidding. Of the North American continent. So this, again, was before Jamestown and all that. Another cool thing. Like you can clearly see from this street, this busy street, you can clearly see the shell midden. These shells were brought over by Native Americans, hundreds, and I know this site has been inhabited for thousands of years, but these shells are obviously more recent as they sit on top. Going down the street here, again, clearly a mound running right into the street. I've never seen anything like it. St. Pete does a pretty good job with keeping up with its need for real estate and development, but also preserving now Now they're really doing well about it. But in the early years of creating St. Petersburg, they had no need or no intention of preserving any historical remains. And they just, most of the mounds that were here at the time in the 1800s and early 1900s, gone. Used for road fill. They need to do better about this sign here. I mean, here you can clearly see some of these shells that were brought over, and it's still part of the mountain. It's right next to Park Avenue, or Park Street. I can't believe it. I have never in my life seen anything like this. Unreal. Look at that. Freaking conch shell up there. Brought over by Tocobaga. Tocobaga sometimes have argued to be their own tribe, where others, to include myself, think and believe with good reason that they were actually a cousin tribe of the Timucua. They lived a lot like the Timucua, had the same temperament as the Timucua, where they weren't as aggressive as the Calusa to their neighbors to the south. They were too far north, in my opinion, to be Calusa, and too small to be their own tribe. So, it's cool. Kind of a Plymouth Rock deal there. And the mound continues on this property here, which I don't know where I'm going. I believe it's a bird sanctuary or someone's home. About as far as I'm gonna go. Whatever property this is, I think it's a bird sanctuary or some type of small museum, but they're living on a mound. I wonder what kind of presence they have at night. Same thing with these folks across. I mean, habitation wasn't limited to this spot alone. I mean, they were out for, they had outer perimeters of the villages, lookout points, hunting lands. I mean, these natives, they went out. And it's all built over, at least on this side. There are parts of Florida that you can still see the original conditions as they were back when the natives lived here. Unfortunately, this is not the case. Either way, I'm just really glad they at least preserved this and documented what happened here the best they could. And now, I'm gonna grab me a lunch over at JP Tavern. See ya.